Can I represent myself? Can I win my case without a lawyer? Should I go to court without a lawyer? The answers are as follows. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up, It's the Law. Today, I'm going to be answering one of your most common questions that I ever get. Pretty much ever since I started my channel, there's been a universal question. Well, Larry, you're a fantastic lawyer. I see how well you're defending your clients, but damn it, you're in Kentucky, and my case is in Michigan, or California, or New York, or Florida. Or, I am in Kentucky, but gosh darn it, I can't afford your services. Good lawyers cost money. You are expensive. It is very difficult for me to be able to afford you because I also want to win because I think my case is winnable and I want to have a good lawyer, but damn it, what do? I can't afford a good lawyer. I have to go with the public defender. And not trying to crap on any public defenders out there, but everybody knows their dockets are insanely large. They don't have enough time to talk to everybody equally. And there is a sacrifice that is made to provide as best a representation as they can given the circumstances, sometimes having no more than a minute and a half to talk about and find out what the case is about before they walk into court. And that's terrifying. So now I'm going to make another video. I have made videos on this topic before, and they will be in the description below. But I can tell you that to answer the question of can I represent myself? Can I win my case without a lawyer? Should I go to court without a lawyer? The answers are as follows. First of all, the old adage always rings true. He or she who represents themselves has a fool for a client. And that adage is never going to change no matter how hard the First Amendment auditors try to protest or the people who are unable to afford lawyers. Unfortunately, just because you don't have the financial means to hire an attorney, representing yourself is always a bad idea, without exception. However, there are some exceptions to the exception, and we're going to talk about it in this video. So before I begin this video, just so that you understand what motivated me to make this video, aside from the fact that I get so many comments that say, oh, Larry, I really love your content, but I cannot afford you. Here's one litigant who has watched my content and won their case in court. Let's have a listen.
Just wanted to tell the DUI guy, thank you for your videos, and I use your videos, and I beat my DUI case by myself in court and the careless and reckless. I took your advice. I did exactly how you said, and I approached it in the same manner that you said you need to approach it, and I had all charges dismissed. So I just wanted to say thank you. My name is James Howard, by the way. I'm in Newport, North Carolina. That's by the coast. But you all have a wonderful day, and thank you again for all your videos and stuff that you do share.
I did not ask them to call me. I did not ask them to leave this voicemail. I did not ask them to represent themselves. They had a case in North Carolina, represented themselves, and won after watching my content. That's fantastic. You understand that everything I do in this video and other videos, we do have a disclaimer, and I'm just going to say it out loud right now before I begin launching into how to represent yourself. This is not legal advice, and I am not your lawyer. If you go to jail or you go to prison because you said, well, I watched the DUI guy on YouTube and he said this is going to work, I'm not responsible for this. Do this at your own risk, at your own peril. Hire a lawyer if you can. If not, go with the public defender. If none of those are viable options, I cannot be held responsible for what happens to you. Capiche? All right, let's get into the video. So for example, one of the things that I find that is absolutely essential, if you are going to be a pro se litigant, that's what that means. That is the literal definition of representing yourself. You're appearing in court pro se, Your Honor. The problem that arises when you represent yourself pro se is that you have a personal vested interest in the outcome of the case. And so you are unable to separate yourself from the case, and you're trying to win the case while also maintaining your own personal interests. And that is a conflict of interest. That is why pro se litigants are oftentimes frowned upon. Secondly, pro se litigants are oftentimes frowned upon for one very simple reason. You don't know the law. And that's okay. You didn't go to law school. We did. No one is going to hold it against you. The judge oftentimes will have to make special instructions to a pro se litigant so they understand what is happening. I mean, you remember Darell Brooks. The judge went ad nauseum, and God bless her. She went ad nauseum trying to educate Darell and explain to him, no, Darell, you can't do that. He started objecting to like his own questions. He was objecting to things that are not objectionable. He would just object to things because he didn't like what was being said in the courtroom. A lot of things that are invalid. Why? Because he doesn't know the law. He doesn't know the procedure. And so even though I am certain that if you're going to represent yourself in court, you who's watching this video, that is probably considering doing this, and that's okay, just be prepared to read and study the law backwards and forwards. You need to have it practically memorized before you walk into that courtroom. That way you can show the judge respect. You can show that you know what this is about, and you know what the law is and how to apply it in your particular case. Now, hopefully, you are not going to be like Darell Brooks, charged with so many felonies and murder. Maybe it's a traffic citation, maybe it's a misdemeanor, maybe it's an emergency protective order or the like, etc. Again, I do not advocate for you to represent yourself, but if you have no other choice, let's continue. So now that you are armed with all of the law with respect to your case, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to study. You're going to get the local rules of the court, and you're going to study backwards and forwards all the rules of decorum of that courtroom. When do they hold motion hour? When do they hold arraignments? When can you file motions? Where do you file your motions? If it's a criminal case, what days do we hold criminal court? If it's a civil case, what days do we hold civil court? If you're filing any motions, make sure that you file them on a day that is the motion hour that works with the court, that is convenient to the court, not convenient for you. The judge is going to notice that and going to respect you immensely. They will understand that you actually know what you are doing, and they will treat you in a different manner. I can almost personally guarantee that. Why? Because judges like when rules are followed. And lawyers, for the most part, with the exception of several individuals I could mention, they follow the rules. They follow the law. And that's why judges allow attorneys to practice freely, and there is very little commotion for the most part. Now, with respect to motions, do yourself a favor. Go to the clerk of the court where you are filing this motion. Ask the clerk on a different case, hey, do you mind if I take a look? Look at a few cases. You'll eventually find something you can use. How do they style the filings? Do they put the case name and number and jurisdiction and the court and the judge at the top left or at the top right? Do they put it in the center? Do they put it at the bottom? How do pro se litigants or attorneys, if you find a pro se litigant case as well, how do they sign? Be careful if it's a pro se. If you land on another pro se litigant case on accident, find one that was filed by an attorney that knows the rules of court, that has learned it from the previous attorney, who learned it from the attorney before them, who learned it from the attorney before them. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Plagiarize. This is not grade school. You don't get penalized for plagiarizing. You actually get rewarded for plagiarizing. Why? Because very simply, you are making the judge's job easier. Anytime you make the judge's job easier, you are winning. Okay? Next, when you are filing your motions, there is a very simple rule that they teach us in law school on how to structure a motion. Issue, rule, application, conclusion. What is my issue? I got a speeding ticket, and I think the cop did a bad job because they didn't use a radar. He just paced me. Let's say that's your issue. Okay, what's the rule? Cite your local statute that you have found through your legal research that says police officers are not permitted to pace, for example. If that's the law in your jurisdiction, they must have radar, and the radar must be calibrated. Application. Apply the rule to the facts. Well, in this case, the police officer paced me. That is prohibited by law. He should have used a radar. Conclusion. As a result of his failure to follow the proper rules, the case should be summarily dismissed by this court. And that's it. Don't add any fluff. Don't try to make it longer. Don't embellish. Don't try to make it more than it is. If that's all it is, then that's all it is. Don't start talking about your uncle, mother's, son's, cousin's wedding anniversary that has nothing to do with the case. The kind of hardships it has caused you. Sometimes those things matter. 99% of the time they don't. They're mitigating factors. They matter at sentencing. If the judge has already convicted you and you want a lesser sentence, that's when it comes in. 99% of the time. Okay? So know the place. Short is better. The shorter, the better. Remember that. Learn it. Use it. Be respectful to the clerks. Be respectful to the judges. Be respectful to other lawyers. Be respectful to the prosecutor. Or if it's a civil case, be respectful to the plaintiff or the plaintiff's attorney. Don't turn us into a Judge Joe Brown or a Judge Judy. Nobody wants that. No judge wants that. Trust me when I say this. Your judge wants peace and quiet because they also want to go home and they want to go to their family and they don't want to be stressed out because you stress them out. Because if you have a calm judge, the likelihood of you getting favorable rulings is much higher, much, much higher. So let's say you did file your motions. You did file your request. You got your complaint or your response or your answer or your criminal allegations, whatever it is. Be continuously respectful. Show up on time. Show up early. Show the judge that you care about your case. Show up wearing court attire, suit and tie for men, or a blazer and a skirt if you're a woman. Wear high heels. Show that you are dressed professionally for the occasion and not that you are on your way to the golf course as soon as this thing here is done, okay? Be on time, be respectful, dress appropriately. All those things in combination with the previous things that I told you are all going to help you help yourself and help the judge help you. And I guarantee prosecutors are going to be very thrown off and very confused. And they're not going to like you even more because they know you've done your homework. And for those of you, well, the judge does not have jurisdiction and I'm going to argue UCC 202 point this and that and the birth certificate on my constitutional rights, I have money and all for those of you people who are the sovereign citizens, as I like to call you, good luck. Have fun. I promise you, the judge cannot wait to convict you and get you out of there. It would be much better if you adopt something similar to what I talk about in this video because I have experience and nobody paid me to do this video. I'm doing this for you guys because I want you all to know what it takes to win a case. Especially since you've been bashing me over the head for years now. How do I win my case in court? Here you go. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been instructional. And I hope that you don't represent yourself in court because he or she who represents themselves has a fool for a client. However, if you must and you have no other alternative and you're not willing to roll over and play dead, which I never recommend you do, especially if you think you're innocent and you have a shot at winning your case, go ahead. Once again, this is not legal advice. I am not your lawyer, and I do not represent you. Use this at your own peril. If you end up going to jail or prison, I am not responsible. You cannot hold me responsible, and I will not come and rescue you. Bye, everybody.